debt is at 485 trillion pesos. Singapore at 53.6 trillion pesos. South Korea at 46.89 trillion pesos. Indonesia at 31 trillion pesos. And Thailand at 17.73 trillion pesos. We're also in the middle of the pack in terms of our national government debt and general government debt to GDP ratios, which calculate our ability to pay. About 69% of our outstanding debt is domestic. Kaya hindi po kayo dapat mabahala dahil utang na ito galing po sa sarili natin. Ibig sabihin, karamihan ng interes ng ating binabayad ay napupunta rin lang bilang dagdag na kita ng ating mga kababayan. We are also strategically favor long-term obligations to reduce our resilience on short-term debt. Currently, long-term debts constitute about 82% of our total debt portfolio. We will continue to adopt an 80-20 borrowing mix in favor of local sources to take advantage of domestic liquidity and mitigate foreign exchange risk. Overall, we will make sure that the economy will continue to outgrow the country's debt. This will ensure that we have the ability to pay for our obligations. If we strictly adhere to our medium-term fiscal program and maintain disciplined and efficient spending, the size of the Philippine economy is projected to reach 42.6 trillion pesos by 2030, while keeping our debt at 24.7 trillion pesos, equivalent to 58% of GDP. This is well within sustainable levels. And you have every reason to be confident that we are managing our obligations prudently, that our financing strategy is clear. In fact, global credit rating agencies affirm this. This is the reason why we earned a credit rating upgrade from RNI, an outlook upgrade from S&P, and consistently high grades from other international agencies. They see what we are seeing: strong macroeconomic fundamentals, prudent debt management, high growth potential, moderate debt burden, and a stable banking system. They know our growth story is strong, our fiscal consolidation is working. We are determined to stick to our medium-term fiscal program by exercising the highest level of fiscal prudence. As I wrap up my presentation, let me assure the honorable members of the House of Representatives that we are on track with our fiscal consolidation plan across the board. We are making good, steady progress on our economic goals, and the impact of our policy decisions is now being felt. Around the world, inflation is expected to average 4.2% this year. But in the Philippines, we already brought it down to just 0.9% in July. This is the direct result of our whole-of-government approach to address high food prices. The global economy is forecasted to grow by only 3% this year, but the Philippines is set to expand at least almost twice that pace, keeping us among the fastest-growing nations in the world. In fact, for the last 3 years, since President Marcos Jr. took office, we grew at an average of 5.9%, among the fastest in Asia. And if we can grow by 6% to 7% annually for the next decade, we will be able to double the size of the Philippine economy. Ibig sabihin, ang kinikita ng bawat Pilipino, dodoble din. Now, I'd like to draw your attention to this slide because it explains a lot of what we are dealing with today. Considering the heavy debt we inherited, the higher policy rates, and the global headwinds from geopolitical tensions and trade wars, we are still growing at a respectable 5.9%. This is the highest among the past administrations, second only to the Aquino, the third administration, which started with a lighter debt load. We're also creating more jobs than ever before. Since we took off over in 2022, we have created roughly 6 million jobs on average, the highest compared to the past administrations. From just 33 million employed in 2006 We now have a record 50.5 million Filipinos at work as of June, and 31.8 million of them have formal, stable jobs. Both unemployment and underemployment are also on a steady decline. These are clear signs that job quality is rising. But we will not rest until we provide more high-quality paying jobs for our people. As opportunities grow, so too does our consumer market, our people's quality of life, and our fight against poverty. In 2023, we have already lifted 2.5 million Filipinos out of poverty since the pandemic. And we will make sure to lift 8 million more Filipinos out of poverty by the end of the president's term. This means dropping our poverty rate to single digits or 9%. This is the be-all and end-all of our efforts, as this is the definitive indicator that our growth has translated into real improvements in the lives of Filipinos through more and better jobs, higher levels of education, and healthier lives. But we cannot achieve this all on our own. Kailangan po namin ang tulong, gabay at suporta nyo sa Kongreso. To the honorable members of Congress, we are already seeing the bagong Pilipinas we promised, and it will not be built by plans alone, but by the budget you will pass in this chamber. The 2026 proposed budget of 6.793 trillion pesos that you will enact will help us get there. So let's ensure that it is a budget that works as hard as the people who fund it, the taxpayers. As we begin the deliberations for the NEP, let us all together carefully choose projects in the budget that deliver the biggest growth and economic benefits for our people. Let us operate within the parameters of the medium-term fiscal program that reduces our deficit and debt gradually, creates jobs, increases income, and decreases poverty. And above all, let us never lose sight of our core mission to deliver on the promise of a better life that every Filipino rightfully deserves under Bagong Pilipinas. And so when history looks back, it will see that the Marcos Jr. administration left the country in a better shape, stronger than we received it. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay ang Bagong Pilipinas.
Thank you very much, Secretary Recto. We would now move to the presentation of the Department of Budget and Management, as well as the remarks of the chairperson of the DBCC. May I now recognize the Honorable Secretary Amina Pangandaman, Secretary of the Department of Budget and Management and chairperson of the DBCC.
Thank you, Chair. To House Speaker Martin Romualdez, Majority Floor Leader Sandro Marcos, Senior Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez, House Committee on Appropriations Chairperson Micaela Swansing, Senior Vice Chairperson Albert Garcia, Minority Floor Leader Marcelino Libanan, honorable members of the 20th Congress, my fellow economic managers, and colleagues in government, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for this opportunity to present the key dimensions and priorities of the fiscal year 2026 National Expenditure Program. At the onset, allow me to share that no less than our President sat down with each agency, not just once, but several times, to better understand and plan with them how we can make our agenda for prosperity truly felt by the Filipino people. And our very hardworking officials, bureaus, services, and offices at the Department of Budget and Management and DBCC, together with all departments and agencies of the executive branch, worked hand in hand to ensure the fulfillment of the needs and aspirations of the Filipino people. Hence, what we present to you is a national expenditure program that is not only strategic and fiscally sound, but most importantly, people-centered. We will also continue to pursue our agenda for prosperity, but this time with the theme of nurturing future-ready generations to achieve the full potential of the nation. This theme reflects our commitment to ensure that the budget not only meets our economic targets, but become more about truly uplifting the lives of our people, especially the next generations. At the same time, all of our efforts seek to achieve the full potential of the nation, to borrow the President's words at the last ASEAN meeting, and achieve the bagong Pilipinas we all aspire for. The fiscal year 2026 National Expenditure Program amounts to 6.793 trillion pesos, or equivalent to 22% of the gross domestic product, and is higher by 7.4%. The economic team has worked hard to ensure prudent and sound fiscal management, with our budget deficit targets in mind, considering that we received a total proposal amounting to 10.101 trillion, way beyond our limited fiscal space. As such, the DBM carefully evaluated all submissions against the following criteria. First, alignment with the Philippine Development Plan. Second, shovel readiness, which means that they are backed with completed feasibility studies, procurement plans, and other requirements to ensure timely implementation of the projects and programs. We also restricted new construction projects to prioritize the completion of those already underway. Third, absorptive capacity, which ensures that agencies can fully utilize their funds. And lastly, fiscal space to maintain sustainability. We also encourage agency to adopt efficiency measures, reducing maintenance and other operating expenses, including travel, training, and utilities, except for critical sectors such as education, health, and agriculture. And finally, we prioritize programs that deliver the highest impact. We also encourage agencies to implement sustainable practices in government operations to ensure that our resources are utilized to meet both present and future public needs. The proposed fiscal year 2026 national budget is composed of two main sources. First, the program appropriations, which account for 64.8% or 4.403 trillion pesos and cover agency-specific and special purpose funds. Next is the automatic appropriations, which make up 35.2% or 2.390 trillion pesos and are authorized by existing laws. Meanwhile, the unprogrammed appropriations stand at 250 billion pesos or 3.7%, which is way low of the total budget, which is way lower than the 4 to 5% threshold set by the multilateral organizations. Moving on to the dimensions of the proposed fiscal year 2026 national budget, by expense class, MOE will receive some 2.640 trillion pesos, the largest share at 38.9%, to fund the implementation of government programs and projects. This is followed by personal services expenditures with 1.879 trillion pesos, cornering 27.7% of the total budget, and reflecting a 15.1% year-on-year growth. This will fund the salaries and other PS benefits of government workers, including the requirements and creation and filling of positions. Finally, capital outlays will be allocated with 1.324 trillion pesos to fund priority infrastructure projects, while financial expenses comprising largely of interest payments will be provided with 950 billion pesos. In line with our commitment to further empower every Filipino, we will allocate 34.1% of the proposed national budget for the social services sector with 2.314 trillion. Next is the economic sector with 27.5% with 1.868 trillion pesos. This will fund priority projects on education, health, social protection, agriculture, and infrastructure, all of which uphold the fundamental rights of Filipinos and promote inclusive and sustainable development. Meanwhile, the general public services and defense sectors will be allotted with 1.2 billion pesos or 17.7% and 430.9 billion pesos with 6.3% respectively, while a total of 978.7 billion or 14.4%